everyone. I'm very pleased to be joined by three lovely members from the team leader community. We're here to talk about the future of team leaders and our teams and the contact center world in general. I will let these lovely human beings introduce themselves, starting with Siobhan, or should I say Cruella?
Thanks, Martin. So, yes, my name's Siobhan Maskery, and I'm a team leader in the MOJ HR CMX Hub for Shared Services Connected Limited. I'm doing this today because we're celebrating World Book Day, and we've got lots of lovely activities going on in the office for our teams today.
That's brilliant. And you were saying you've got some of those activities, and that's one of the things we love about contact centers, isn't it?
Absolutely, yes. So we've encouraged everyone to dress up. We've got a book swap going on. We've got a quiz, and just general fun engagement today.
Brilliant. And I'll come to you now, George.
Hi everyone, my name is George. I am currently a team leader on the private side for MoneyCorp. We're a foreign exchange company. I've been in this role for about 8 to 9 months now. So still learning every day. And talking about activities, we didn't do much today about the World Book Day, but we did have Pancake Day a couple of days ago. And that was a hit in the office. That was brilliant. So yeah, great to be here.
And we were saying before we hit record and the others joined George, weren't we? That 8 months feels like 2 years.
Years. Yeah, it does. Honestly, it does, right? It just flies. The last time I was on here, I think I'd just been promoted maybe or something like that, right? It was literally my first month in. Honestly feels like it's been a couple of years since then, yeah. It does.
I think that's a feeling we can all relate to. And now to you, Dave.
Yeah, hi everybody. My name's Dave LeBrow. I'm a customer service manager within Bupa. I've been with Bupa 2.5 years now, so they've took my newbie cards off of me.
And you are responsible for a lot of the next generation leaders that we have in the community as well, Dave, aren't you?
Yeah, that's right. So I worked within our initial contact hub for about 1.5 years, which is where we started the Next Generation program across all of our service areas. And I work within our academy space, so supporting the leaders that are supporting our new starters to the business. But I still work alongside all of those aspiring leaders. So the Next Gen program was something that we put in place to help our aspiring leaders ultimately, isn't it? I think we've all had that conversation where you're an advisor on the phones, and then we take that hat off and put your team leader hat on, and then you're there the next day in the role. So it was twofold. We gave them an opportunity over the time that they were in service to step up, observe our leaders, observe the planning calls, and just sort of learn, grow your shadow. And then at the same time as well, if we had any leaders that wanted to go off on holiday or whatever reason, they might not actually be within the business, they could step in and support the teams as well. So get a bit of experience on the job. It's been really, really valuable actually. We've seen a lot of leaders rise as a result of it.
I love it. What a lovely phrase as well. Grow your shadow.
Thank you. Yeah, that's a Dave LeBrow original as well. Yeah.
That's a great one. And I'm assuming it doesn't mean just like put on loads of weight.
Yeah, no, yeah, only in my sense as well. Yeah.
And we're also joined from the side of the road by Jordan. Do you want to introduce yourself? Jordan's been with the community pretty much from the start. And I think we've gone through weddings. There's going to be a baby soon. So it's great to have you here, Jordan.
Yeah, hi everyone. Sorry I'm running a bit late. It's a bit manic. So for myself currently, I'm based in Forth Utility, which is a broadband provider over in Hale, Manchester. So currently my role is as an agent, but that's going to be quickly changing because the business is growing tenfold over the next 12 months. But previously, team leader for around 3-4 years. And as you guys said, 8 months feels like 2 years. Well, 4 years feels like 10, and it saves me as such. But won't change it for the world. It's been an awesome learning curve. And within the community, always looking to try and help and pass on the do's and don'ts and the lessons learned to obviously save the same mistakes again. But yeah, definitely a good place to be.
Awesome. Thank you, Jordan. Siobhan, I want to come to you first. And just before we touch on the future, just to think about the current role, one thing I think we can all agree on is there's probably no busier role in a contact center than team leader. You get thrown absolutely everything to do. What kind of technique do you use to make sure that you can always be there for your team, even though you've got competing priorities?
My main aim is to be organised and to try and put your team members at the forefront of what's going on. You know, it could be they've just approached you for annual leave next week. You know, they've obviously got something going on that's quite important to them, and I see other team leaders not in our area but outside. You know, they'll jot that down, they'll make a note of it to pick it up later. But for me, that 2-minute job that can just be dealt with in that moment, you know, your team members satisfied that, you know, you've managed to help them out on that particular day. And it's not something that you've got to go back and think about or perhaps unfortunately forget later. You know, likewise, if someone, you know, whether you're working from home and someone drops you a message on Teams, can I call you, or approaches you in work at your desk, can I have a chat? Yes, you might have your head in something that's really important. But for me, again, it's putting that team member first. You know, yes, give me 2 seconds and I'll be with you, you know, or yes, no problem, I'm free, a call. You know, it could be that they're not feeling well. It could be that they need help with a particular call. It's just making sure your focus is about the team members. I'm really just so passionate about that.
I absolutely love that. You will find this hard to believe. This is true. Okay, I worked for a team leader, and she had a traffic light on the side of her monitor, and if it was red, no matter what was going on, you couldn't approach her to talk to her.
Yeah,
Absolutely love that system. I think I might have to order a traffic light.
But it could be like, the contact center's on fire. No, it's red. Leave me alone. George, 8 months in, but feels like 2 years. What part of the role is the thing that you are finding the most fulfilling and enjoyable?
I think the main bit for me is obviously, like I said, so I've been in this role for 8 months, but then I was a CSR myself for the previous 12 months, right? So I was in the role that they're doing now, right? I think one of the best things, and for me, one of my favorite ones, is getting them in a room when we're doing our one-to-ones, coaching, feedback, whatever it may be, right? And listening to a call that might not be as good, right? Or there might be some issues, and getting them to realize and to give basically do their own coaching, if you know what I mean, right? Like listening to that call and just asking them, you know, what do you think went wrong? What do you think happened? Right? And just seeing that realization on their face going, oh yeah, I see it now. I understand it, right? I think that's probably the best for me. It's just pulling them in a room and seeing them understand it and going, I get it now, right? Without me having to tell them the answer, right? Just them picking it up themselves. I think that's one of the best feelings for me.
I love it. That kind of knowing that you facilitated somebody's growth and development in an action that you can then see them take straight away.
Yeah, I'll give you an example if I can. 2 secs. So I had there was someone in my team who is still in the team currently, but they'd been with the company for about 3 years, I think, and they were sort of starting to stagnate a bit and just going through the motion. And I'd listened to some calls, and I knew they were quite poor, right? Like I knew if I just pulled them in a room and just played all of those calls, it would just be banging on and on and on, right? Telling them how bad they are, basically, right? And that's not something I wanted to do. So what I ended up doing is I pulled them into a room and I played one of their calls from like a year ago, right? And it was a brilliant call. It was like a perfect marking, all of that. And then I went, "What do you think of that?" And they were like, "Yeah, brilliant, okay." And I was like, "That's from 12 months ago." So here's one from today. Here's one from 12 months ago. So what's changed there, right? And I got them to see that and to go, "Oh, it has," right? Because it could be they didn't even notice it, right? They've been here so long, you just go through it, you don't see it. But yeah, that was one of my best feelings, right?
Really clever.
Yeah.
Really clever. I think that's been done to me start of the week versus end of the week as well. Even that short period. you can. It is a tough job to be able to be switched on all of the time, and just to be mindful of that and help people remember that themselves. That's a really good shout. Now, Dave, you've heard Siobhan and George both talk about how this is for them, it's a real people-focused role. When you're in your experience as well, but when you're talking to the next generation, those people that are going to step up to team leaders, what are you saying is the priority for their role?
So, for me, I think there's two types of people and two approaches, isn't there? We've got people helping customers, and then we as leaders helping them be their best selves, helping customers. That's generally how I would see that. I think that's why it's quite challenging being a team leader, because there are a lot of levels above us, all wanting to focus on supporting the level below them be their best selves, and that can feel like quite a lot, at the moment. So yeah, I mean, I think George, you nailed it there for me. Is just seeing people grow is amazing, isn't it? Giving them the opportunity to grow. I think for me, I'd say there's a reason I've got a Ted Lasso bottle here. It's blurred out at the moment, but that be curious has got to be the most important thing, and I must say that about 1,000,000 times a day at the moment, which is just go in, be curious, try and understand why, and get underneath what the actual thing is. Like George's example there, like some people don't notice that they're slipping. Martin, you say the end of the week, but it could be the end of the day, couldn't it? Like could be all sorts of things that are going on. Could be that people don't know and they don't understand. But like I've never found it to be a positive approach to be going in with the mentality of slapping legs or that this isn't good enough. But everybody, I believe, turns up to do a good job. But then there's a lot of other contributing factors. So I would say being curious and being interested and being present and just listening to listen and understand off the back of it is really important.
I love that. And Jordan, to come to you, that kind of if we were sharing with people that weren't from our industry, the role of team leader as it currently is now, what would you be saying are the key things the key characteristics that people need to be a good team leader in the contact center world?
What I find with most team leaders that are new to the role, they tend to want to go in with both feet first, get stuck into it, and then that's where you get the sort of resistance to the change. Now, what I always found worked outside of the first role, where I did just that, was be the change that you want to see. Because if you want certain people to be energetic, you want people to be enthusiastic and genuinely care about the customers that they're dealing with, then you need to show the same sort of empathy, whether it's with the team members, whether it's you actually what you say, and it's not just a lot of talk. Because the one thing that obviously makes a great team leader is having a team that trusts you. Like they say, they ask for something that they need, and then you go ahead and you action it. It's not a case of, oh, I'll do it tomorrow, because that to-do list for tomorrow is going to stay just there, and that never comes. It gets forgotten about, and then that's when they sort of lose faith within you, within the business, because from their point of view, your management, and that's they don't want to see any higher because they don't care about it. They don't need to. So I think the most important thing for me to develop in the team is trust, but also to show the characteristics that you're wanting to develop within the team and be shown about it, because you can't expect somebody to be enthusiastic about a role if you're walking at 9 o'clock in the morning with your head down because you either had a rough night, late, or whatever. You need to be coming in with the same sort of atmosphere that you want. So it radiates from you. Your team's like a sponge, and they pick up on that.
I love that. I remember being a contact center manager and talking to a group of agents saying, look, we've got some team leader positions coming up. Who's interested? And there wasn't much enthusiasm. And I said, why? Can you just talk to me about why that might be? And it was because I had two teams and both their team leaders were pretty miserable. And they said, well, the job looks awful. It was, so it is very much that kind of role modeling is really important. So thinking ahead now, we've got so much technology coming into the industry. There were some articles even yesterday saying contact centers aren't going to be around in 3, 4, 5 years. And people are going to be dealing chatbot to chatbot, and it's a very dizzying time to be thinking about the future. And I don't personally agree with any of that, by the way. I don't think that this kind of doom mongering has been around for a while. But when you think ahead to the role of the team leader, do you see it changing massively, pretty much staying the same, or there's some small changes? And I want to come to you, Dave, first this time. What do you think about when you're thinking about the future and the role of team leader? What might change, or what are your thoughts on that?
So many answers are coming to mind, if I'm honest with you. So, I mean, touching on AI and sort of using back to my example before is, I see AI as being something that should be, again, helping us be our best selves. Like, we've started using Copilot for meeting summaries, which has been an absolute revelation. As a MSN baby, I'm a touch typer. It's never been a problem for me to capture notes and keep up. But to be able to go into a meeting and just press record and then at the end go, can you please give me those notes in summary? Like, for people that can't touch type and that have to go back and sort of recount that, you're talking half an hour per person. Like, that has just gifted time back for us to then reinvest into our people, which is just astounding stuff. Again, this isn't something we have in existence at the moment, but we're talking about it. Is how amazing would it be if it was sort of listening onto the call, translating what the customer was saying, and sort of presenting helpful articles that might be able to guide your call as being amazing. So stuff like that, I don't see it as being a threat to contact centers not existing, our roles not being required. I see it as being something that's going to help us continue to be even better for our people.
I love that. And Siobhan, how about you?
Yeah, again, I don't see the role as a team leader massively changing. You are still going to need team leaders to coach and develop. AI is going to take away some of those more mundane tasks, so our advisors can focus on more complex inquiries. It will give them more time, perhaps off the phones, to develop further, their skills, their knowledge, etc. And I don't see it as a negative. I see it as a positive. When there are conversations around AI, some of the agents do see it as quite negatively, that robots are going to replace them in their seats, and that that absolutely isn't the truth. AI is going to enhance the service that we are going to be able to provide, and enhance their ways of working as well. So and in terms of team leaders, it's going to enhance the things that we do as well.
And like you say, hopefully it will make it easier for you to spend more time with your team, either face to face or virtually like this. You right now, you embody everything that is good about our industry. We're a people-based industry. You're leading people to help customers, and the key word is connection. You've got a theme for the day. You're having some fun. I'm yet to see AI be able to dress up for World Book Day. George, you were nodding along, listening to Dave talking about kind of how co-pilots helped, and Siobhan talking there. What's your view?
Yeah, I mean, I've got to agree with them. Right, we use Copilot as well, right? We've introduced it as well. I think AI is just, I think it's going to be a tool, right? Like, I think it would be great for sort of speech analytics, right? Transcripts for meetings, like Dave's mentioned, and things like that. But like, I know there's times now when I'll still take some calls from customers, right? If we're busy or things like that, and a lot of our customers tell us that one of the main reasons they pick us over some competitors is because they can pick up the phone and speak to someone, right? So while the chats are great and the bots and all of that, there's still people and a lot of people out there who want to pick. I'm like that, right? I hate being on a chat. I want to pick up the phone and speak to someone. I want to sort it out straight away, right? I hate emails and texts, and I want to pick up the phone and be able to speak to someone and within a minute solve it, right? So I think, yes, AI will definitely help, and I think it will assist us and it will help us. But the human bit, the coaching, the one-to-ones, that's not going to be replaced by AI, right? So yeah, like I said, I agree with them. It's going to be a tool, it's going to be an aid, but I don't see it replacing. team leaders now.
You make such a good point, and you are not alone. The latest stats from Contact Babel say, regardless of generation, 74 to 7, I think it's 74 or 75% of customers want to talk to a human being, regardless of vertical, regardless of their generation. That number only goes up if the reason they're calling is either urgent or complex or high emotion. So if any of those rules apply, that number's far, far higher. So I think that's great. Thinking about the future, Jordan, if I can come to you, do you think agents will still want to be team leaders in the future? Is there still that same level of desire to be a leader?
I think it's not going to stay the same. It's only going to improve. Because in the past, when just like 4 years ago, when I stepped up, there's no resources in the assistants to make that step. Because like was mentioned earlier, you go from being an agent to a team leader overnight, and then you come in and you're expected to be able to do that role as you was exposed to when you first did transition, and know that everybody else within this call. Now, the points that everybody's making are absolutely spot on. Now, AI and such tools, they're all just that. It's a tool. Now, if you try and use a tool without a person, it's just sat there and there's nothing happening. Where, like Siobhan said, it's all about enhancing over replacing, so to improve the service rather than replace it. George, like George said, with you'd much rather speak to a person to get something handled, because with a chatbot, with a email, it's all binary. It's either on or off. You lose that the EQ within that, so the emotional intelligence from the agents, the exposure, and the relatability. You can't relate to a robot. It's just ones and zeros. But when you speak to somebody like Jordan, he's been through this before. He understands this. This is a time frame. This is what to expect, Mr. Customer. And they do just that. They have a smile on their face, and then that's the difference between it. Rather than, oh, that's convenient. That was great, and that's the sort of change that I'm looking forward to seeing. Because, like I say, it's only going to enhance the experience rather than trying to swap headcounts out. Now, it might shrink the numbers down a little bit because it's so convenient and fast, but it's I reckon it's going to change the industry, but all for the better.
I love it. I love it. Now, George, if I can come to you, and when you think about our industry as a whole, and you personally, what would you like to see more of in the industry?
Are you referring to sort of AI thing, or just any?
Just anything. You know, if you're hopefully thinking of a career in our industry, when you think about the future, what would you like to see? Or, well, more of, less of?
I think looking at sort of maybe other team leaders in our company, or just overall, I think something I don't see enough of is that human bit of it. Their coaching, their one-to-ones, their feedback, right? I feel like it doesn't get done enough by a lot of people, right? I think it's sort of just a tick exercise, right? Like, yep, we've been in the room for 10 minutes, it's all good, let's move on, right? But I don't feel like a lot of people actually put the effort into it and actually treat it as it should be, right? And that is, because it's very important. I think it's one of, like, again, it's my favorite part of the job, right? And I think looking around, I don't think it gets picked up enough. I don't think it's done enough. So I think if someone does want to, become a team leader and it's something they want to focus on, I think that's important. I think learn about emotional intelligence, like Jordan said, right? Learn about why people act the way they do, right? Think about if you got a team member who, you know them, they never react, they never have an outburst. And then the first thing they do in the morning is they shout at someone. Your first thought shouldn't be, oh, I'm going to send them home, or that kind of thing, right? It should be, let me pull them in a room. Something's clearly gone wrong. Something's clearly happened. I need to give them a hand with something, right? I need to understand what's gone wrong, right? So I think that emotional side of it, I think it doesn't get done enough by other team leaders.
And I think we've all been in that situation where we look around our peers and think, you really don't like coaching or being there with your team. You like the admin side of things, really.
Yeah. And don't get me wrong, you got to be good at both, right? You've got to be able to do the admin side of it, right? There's loads of stats that I run through every single day, right? And spreadsheets, and don't get me wrong, you've got to know that side of it too. But I feel like there's got to be a good mixture of both. You can't just have one or the other.
And are you optimistic about the future, Siobhan?
Absolutely. The contact centres are going to be around for, they've been around for years, and they're going to be around for years to come. They're just going to evolve. We're not sat there with a book of yellow pages and I can't think what they're called, but you're dialing the numbers in and Jabra earbuds now, isn't it? I heard.
It's good. It is going to be those. We're doing the draw for them later on today.
But yeah, it's been great to join you all. But I'm going to have to drop off now, I'm afraid.
Thank you, Siobhan. Thanks
Thank
very
you.
much.
Right, take care, everyone. Enjoy the rest of your day.
And you.
Take care.
Bye.
And Dave, for you then, you're responsible for a lot of the next generation of leaders. What are some of the things that they're asking you? What do they really want for that kind of preparation?
I suppose experience has been the biggest one. Boop has been very fortunate to see a lot of growth. So in terms of getting more frontline in, more leaders that are needing to support them, and with the growth, I think we're talking about the yellow pages and the old-fashioned phone stuff. It's like technology advances so darn quickly these days, doesn't it? Like I was really disappointed to find out my 4-year-old MacBook's worth about £300 the other day, and I paid £3,000 for that thing not long ago. But whether it's sort of mindsets or it's technology that we're using or otherwise, everything evolves really, really quickly, doesn't it? So getting brand new eyes into an area has been already. I've seen so many amazing ideas come from people that just say, ask why don't we do this? Why don't we try that? So giving people the opportunity to bring that fresh perspective in, to challenge us in the right way and sort of say, oh, have we thought about this? Or maybe this process is broken, or even something so simple again as Copilot, which I've mentioned a few times now, but I would have said, no, don't need it. I'm a touch typer. I've got this. But it's allowed me a lot more headspace in meetings, or, again, I think we've mentioned in the community, I'm a Dungeons and Dragons guy, so can all hide our sad faces there. But I do enjoy the game. But AI has really helped me there when I've gone, I need an idea. This week, for example, one of my players wouldn't turn up, so we didn't want to play the long game. We just wanted a one week adventure. It's Pancake Day, so AI, what can I do? Suggests a pancake monster attacks the town. I was like, fantastic, let's go. So those little sparks to sort of generate ideas that will then give you experience trying new things, sometimes unsuccessfully, but trying new is always the thing to do, isn't it?
It 100% is. Now, to finish, that this is going to be shown at the forum. Wonderful organisation with a wide breadth of organisations and people at different levels. Some of those will be senior leaders. Jordan, to come to you first, what do senior leaders need to think about to better support team leaders going forward?
So the team leader's workload is already pushing people to almost capacity. So before making like any sorts of requests, think about the bigger impact that it's going to have on the obviously the team that they're working for. And is it going to outweigh the value that's we are adding to that team, or is it something that somebody else can take care of that's going to have less impact within the business? Because if you try to push a team leader past their not capability but their capacity, you're going to be getting the burnout, you're going to be getting the resistance, and then that's then going to trickle down to the rest of the team, and it's going to reflect badly looking up. And ultimately, it's going to then put a detriment within the team. So I think just obviously having the second thought for the amount of workload it's going to take from the team leader before it's requested. Is it needed? And is it going to obviously outweigh the cons that might come from it?
I love that. Gents, anything else to add on that one?
Yeah, I think for me, the role of a senior manager would be to have that strategic head on and keep thinking forward. But 100% agree with that. A service team manager's role becomes it's so big, isn't it? You are juggling and spinning a lot of plates all at once. So again, we've got to come back to they're the people that are empowering our people, speaking to customers. How can we help them be the best selves? I think a team leader role can come at risk of becoming a a one size fits all, wear many hats. I think it's about how we can expand other things to help support them in the role. So we talk a lot about not walking past broken windows and changing and updating processes to make sure that everything's grand for our people. But again, if you've got a full team of people and all of the day job going on, that can be quite a lot. So we've implemented something called a change maker process, where you can raise those ideas if you do spot that broken window, but you don't necessarily have to actually fix it. I was trying to think how you fix a window then. I haven't got that skill set, so I don't know. But yeah, I think it's about what can we do to empower them within their roles? What other things can we put in place to help them? And just being conscious of the work. Like, again, that they're here to help our people, aren't they? So how can we help and do that, give them the headspace to do that, and really think about the purpose of what their role is constantly.
Love that. George?
Yeah, I've got to agree with both of them, right? I think one of the best advice Barry gave me, right? Some of you will know him. He's obviously part of the community, right? One of the best advice he gave me before he left, because he was like, "Look, I'm leaving, right? You're gonna have to do a bit of my job as well. You're gonna have to do a bit of CSR. Like, you're gonna have like 3 jobs into one, right?" And he was like, "One of the best things you can do is learn when to say no." Right. So if someone does come to you and it's like, can you help me with this? Like, can I? Like, is it urgent? Right? Like, I've got 50 things on my list. Does this need to be picked up by me? Right? It's what Jordan said, right? It's learn when to say no. It's actually, I haven't got 5 minutes. No, sorry. Like, if you really need it, put it in later on. If it's urgent, we'll do it. But if it's just, can I have a chat with you for 5 minutes? Actually, no. Like, I'm booked until tomorrow evening, right? Like, no, I haven't got 5 minutes, right? So I think it's that is as a team leader, just learn to say no, even if it's senior management coming to you and going, oh, can you pick this up? Actually, no, I haven't got any time. Like, if you want me to drop any of these 5 things, sure, I'll do it, but otherwise, no. Right. So I think
that
it's
is
that.
so important as well, in it, George, is the articulation of that. And even with your calendar, if you sort of booked up for a couple of days in advance, it's sort of having that skill to be able to go, that meeting I am going to have to say won't add value, or I need to have lunch at that point, or something like that. Just managing our time and being confident enough to, kick back's the wrong word, isn't it? But you know what I mean.
No, you're right. Yeah.
Question.
Well, guys, Jordan, Dave, George, and Siobhan, I think for those people watching at the conference, like me, you'll actually be really positive about the future, because you guys know your stuff. You're very enthusiastic, and that bodes well for where you will work, but also for our industry. So thank you very, very much for giving up some of your time and saying yes to me. Thank you, guys.
All right. Thanks for having us. Thank you.
Take
Thanks
care.
very much.
Thank you. Bye. Bye.